Israel, good morning, Israel. All praise. We live. I'm Officer Joseph with IUIC.
We in this building.
We in the building, man. We've been in the building the last 3 days, man. Shout out to Officer Yehoshua. For those who saw his class on I Hate My Spouse, shout out to Officer Adriel. Those who saw his class on fathers being the heroes. All right, so we back in Virginia for mid-morning medicine, daily dose. All right, the topic we got. So you think you ready for marriage? And I wanted to kind of keep the conversation going on what Officer Yehoshua and Officer Adriel did, because they went into some heavy things. Because both of those things, our fathers being our heroes and spouses not hating each other, all deal with marriage. And I think it was important to continue in that same vein, because marriages, or strong marriages, and we've heard the bishop say this all the time, and it's true to this very day, that strong marriages are the building blocks or the foundation to building a nation. So marriages, or who you are going to procreate with, who you're going to be knit to, is the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. And I'm going to say something. You should not be making that decision. I know that's crazy. That's taboo, right? Because we live in a world that says that you can't help who you love, and everybody has the choice to do these things. But marriage isn't a decision that you shouldn't be making, right? It's not a decision that you should be making. What do I mean by that? Give me let's start off with a scripture. Give me Hebrews 13:4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4.
Come on.
Marriage is honorable in all.
Marriage is honorable, right? What makes marriage honorable? I just want y'all to meditate on that. We'll continue. Read.
And the bed undefiled.
Read.
But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
Right. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. All right. So I said that marriage is a decision, a very heavy decision that you shouldn't be making. So who establishes marriage? Who makes that decision? Let's get the first video. All right. Give me the first YouTube video. All right. Because someone establishes marriage, and it's not you. It's not the brother or the sister. Somebody else. You there? All right, there we go. All praises. Go ahead, play it.
I think also it's easy to fear marriage because we've made it a personal goal and not a God-ordained thing. When you talking about like matrimony, when you talking about my assigned partner, ain't to be afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there going to be moments where we have our tough times and things like that? Of course, but I was covered before you got here. This is much larger than me. There's a much larger assignment that our parent is supposed to complete. You feel me?
Right. Run that back.
I think
he said some
also
heavy things. Play it. I'm sorry.
I think also it's easy to fear marriage because we've made it a personal goal and not a God-ordained thing.
Stop. He said it's easy to fear marriage because a lot of our people today fear marriage. Hence why most of our people are in the midst of fornication and adultery, right? Or having children outside of wedlock. Or the rampant fornication that's going on even in Israel United in Christ. It's due to a lot of people fear marriage or the responsibility of marriage. But he said, we look at marriage as a personal goal, and it is a goal, don't get me wrong, but we look at it more as a personal goal rather than a God-ordained thing, right? Rather than something that God established back in the beginning. Now it's become something that we want to show off, especially in the world. We want to show off to people to say, it's become something to say I did in life. And whether it's successful or not is really not important more than the ring, the wedding feast, the dress that you wear or the garments that you wear, the spectacle that is marriage. Because that's what it's become. It's become a spectacle and not a God-ordained thing. Keep playing.
When you talking about like matrimony, when you talking about my assigned partner, ain't to be afraid of.
Right. He said when you talk about marriage, and when you do things in order, right? When you do things decently in order, like the scripture says, there's no need to be afraid. There's no need to be afraid or fear marriage because you're doing things in order. Read. I said read. Play it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are there going to be moments where we have our tough times and things like that? Of course.
Stop.
But
because a lot of times we go into marriage with this notion that you're not going to go through things, right? I've been married to my wife almost 2 decades now. And me and my wife have had our shares of ups and downs and arguments and disagreements, and we still married for almost 2 decades. So work goes into marriage. But a lot of people don't think that. So when issues arise, they get gone. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, right? Y'all heard that before. So marriage doesn't mean that y'all not going to have issues, but you shouldn't be afraid of those issues. You should see those issues as a challenge or an obstacle to overcome. To get stronger, to get your wife stronger, to get you more built up. That's how you should view it, because it's a God-ordained thing. God said he hated to put in the way. Right? Play.
I was covered before you got here.
Stop. He said I was covered before you got here. Hold on. Continue playing it, and then I'm gonna touch on that point. That point was heavy. That point was more heavy than people cared to believe. He said, I, the man, was covered before you got here. What is he saying? God was dealing with me before you even came on the scene. Yeah. So in his proper order, God is supposed to be dealing with that brother before a wife even comes into the picture. Right? I'm gonna go back and touch on that point, but keep playing.
This is much larger than me. There's a much larger assignment that our parent is supposed to complete. You feel me?
Right.
I think also.
So drop that. Get me Genesis chapter 3, verse 21. Actually start up, because he said something. He said I was covered before you got here. So give me Genesis chapter 3. Start at verse 16. Start at verse 15.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 16.
15. Start at verse 15.
Yes, sir. Verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee.
I'm sorry, Genesis 2. My apologies. Genesis 2, verse 15. My apologies, bro.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 15.
Come on.
And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
So God put the man and established him first and gave him his marching orders first. This is before a wife was even on the scene or even considered, even in his vein of thought. Come on.
Verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Come on.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Right. So he gave Adam his marching orders. He gave Adam his purpose. He covered Adam before Eve even came on the scene. And Adam did his job and did his job well. He ruled over the earth. And he was covered by the Most High God before a woman came on the scene. Come on.
Verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone.
So God even acknowledged, okay, it's not good that my son be alone. He needs something. He need a companion. He need that. There's nothing wrong with marriage. It's a good thing. God said that it was a good thing. He said, as a matter of fact, it's not good that the man should be alone. Come on. Read.
I will make him and help meet for him.
Come on.
And out of the ground, the
All
Lord.
right, that's it. Drop to verse 21.
Verse 21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Come on.
And the rib, which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman.
Read.
And brought her unto the man.
And what?
And brought her unto the man.
And brought her and presented her to the man. Now, remember earlier when I said marriage is the most important decision you'll ever make, and you're not supposed to make that decision. That's what I said, right? Now, who made the decision for Adam to get married? Right. God made the decision for Adam to get married. And Adam was a God.
Yeah.
So if Adam wasn't equipped to make the decision to be married, if God didn't determine Adam was ready for a wife until God determined Adam was ready for a wife, meaning once he established Adam on his purpose, gave Adam his marching orders, and allowed Adam to do his purpose, then God said, okay, my son ready for a wife. Let me give him a help meet for him. How do we then go about constantly making the decision to choose our spouses? And then ask yourself, why do our marriages fail when we make those decisions? It's because we were never meant to make that decision. Your decision for your marriage was always supposed to be made by somebody above you. All right? Now, keep reading.
Verse 22.
24.
Verse 24. Therefore,
I'm sorry, verse 23. Read.
Verse 23.
Come on.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh.
Come on.
She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
Read.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother. Read.
And shall cleave unto his wife.
Now that leave his father and his mother don't mean you go off on your own and you make that decision to be married. That's not what that means. We're going to touch on it. What that ultimately means is your father and your mother are the ones that establishes that before you leave. They are in agreement to you leaving their house to start your own family, as it has been from the beginning when we read the scriptures. Matter of fact, give me Sirach chapter 3.
The book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 9.
Come on.
For the blessing of the father establisheth the houses of children.
Read that again.
For the blessing of the father establisheth the houses of children.
So it says the blessing of the father establishes the houses of their children. When you leave your father and your mother, you're supposed to leave with the blessing of your father. This is why in the past days, it was protocol before a man married a young lady, he spoke to the father. Because the father is the one who establishes the blessing. Now, maybe that's not true. Maybe, you think, well, I already laid down with the sister, and, I want to make it right. Go to Exodus 22 and 16. I want to stay on that point about the father establishing the marriage. Yep, 22 and is it 16 or 6? Yep, 22 and 16. Exodus 22 and 16.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 16.
Come on.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
So if a man lays down with a woman, let's say this is your son, right? Or your daughter. They lay with each other. Scripture say he shall surely endow her to be his wife, right? So they got to get married. Okay. Fair point. Read the next verse.
Verse 17. If her father utterly refuse.
If her father what?
Utterly refuse.
So if the father utterly refuses
to give her unto him,
to let you marry his daughter because of the debauchery and the evil that you've done to his daughter,
he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgin.
You still got to pay for what you did in defiling his daughter, but you don't get his daughter in marriage. So even if you go about it the wrong way, God still says that decision to be married ain't yours to make. That decision lies with your father or whoever is over you. In this case, if you don't have a father figure, it's your leadership. Because they're supposed to be guiding your mother if you don't have a father over you. And the counsel is supposed to be coming from them. So still, Your decision to marry is not yours. The father is who determines whether you are married or not. Yeah. Son or daughter. Just like if the father refused. All right, drop that. Give me that next YouTube video. All right, go ahead, play that. Now, I he said something heavy, you know. So just take the nuggets, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, play that.
You're building a foundation. Think about a skyscraper. We're downtown. You see all the buildings around us, right? If you take these tall buildings and look down at the foundation, it goes deep into the ground. That's how your marriage operates.
Stop. So he said when you look at any building, the foundation goes deep within the ground because it has to hold up the structure that's above the ground. And it has to be solid. That's how your marriage is supposed to be. What happens a lot of times is brothers and sisters will get married and their foundation is not secure. And you know that because once they get into the marriage, early into the marriage, there's issues that they struggle with that they struggle to overcome. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have issues. What I'm talking about is brothers and sisters that you're in a marriage now and you're finding out things about each other that you really don't like and you don't know how to address them. And you don't know what to do. And you're ultimately ashamed of going to try to get it fixed because you know that this is a tell that you probably weren't ready to be married.
That's terrible.
Like you probably weren't ready to be married. When leadership says y'all ain't ready, a lot of times people get out the spirit. They think you trying to withhold them from something, or you jealous of them, or you trying to manipulate and control them. What the hell do we as leadership gain from telling a brother or sister they're not ready for marriage? Like I could see if we was in one of them camps that taught multiple wives, I get that because you might could say, well, leadership may want them as wife number 2, 3, or 4, so they want to stop me from dealing with it. All right, fair enough. But in IUIC, that's not the case. And if anyone's teaching that in IUIC, they getting the hell out of IUIC. So leadership is invested in you and that sister or that brother, whatever, you know, because we understand marriage is one of the most important decisions you can ever afford to make the mistake in choosing. That's why it's not your choice. A lot of people take that for granted, how important that is. And then they inherit a problem. And then they come to leadership to clean it up. We can't clean it up. All right? Keep playing.
First get married, or even when you're dating or in the courtship phase, you're just digging. You're digging a foundation to then lay bricks on.
Right. So he said dating. Stop. He said dating, but we deal with courting and proving, right? So when you're courting and you're proving, which a lot of brothers and sisters don't do properly, if I'm being honest, you're digging. You're building your foundation. What you're proving to see is this brother or is this sister going to keep the commandments or no? That's what you're proving. Are they going to keep the commandments of God or no? And is it determined on how they feel or how much they like me in a moment, or are they, regardless of how I feel? Because you're not going to always wake up and feel like, damn, man, I'm in the spirit as far as it's concerned. You're not going to always see eye to eye. You're going to have trouble in the flesh. But what's going to separate the weak from the strong is when you out the spirit concerning that sister, or you out of the spirit concerning that brother, is your duty to what the Lord ordained going to be your foundation? Are you going to get in the spirit and honor that man? Are you going to get in the spirit and cherish that woman? Or are you going to let your emotions and how you feel destroy something that God ordained? That's the question that we all got to ask. Keep playing.
So you being here today, the people in this room today understand the value of having a strong foundation. Because if you say...
You can go ahead and drop that. So you have to understand the importance of having a strong foundation before you get married. All right, play the TikTok video. It should be, let me see if I can. Yep, that's it. That's it. Now, remember, what I said about who determines who gets married. And it's not you. This notion where the woman or the man, someone's son or someone's daughter picks their own spouse is nonsense. And it's proven to fail. That's why divorce rates are so high now. Because everybody picking and choosing who they want to be with. Right? Play this. Watch this.
But this is worth it, okay? We're going to get off topic for a second.
Turn it up.
My daughter got engaged. This young man, who I have the utmost respect for.
So stop. He's dealing with somebody he wants to be his future son-in-law. And he says he has the utmost respect for him. Why? Come on.
Respect for is going to hopefully marry my daughter, and they're going to be happily forever.
He said he hopes that this man marries his daughter. He said so he's already saying this young man has my blessing if he so chooses to marry my daughter, and I hope he marries my daughter. Now, that's what you want, because the blessing of the Father is what establishes your house. So that's what a young sister or young brother should want, the guidance and the approval of their fathers. Come on.
For her hand in marriage. It took me 45 minutes before I'd say yes. Okay? I actually went driving in a car, pulled over to Johnny's, walked in, and said, "Need to have a booth? We need to have a conversation." Two young co-eds looked at me and said, really,
Stop.
We got this thing.
So he said when the young man came to him and asked for his daughter's hand in marriage, he said, all right, I took him, I drove 45 minutes away, and I got a booth. Like, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about it. It ain't just I like him. Yeah, that's cool. No, we're going to talk. I need to examine you. I need to put you under a microscope. Because I'm not just about to give my daughter. Now I had to let the white man say it for you. Because Israel's rebellious as hell. So maybe the white man saying the importance of father's counsel before marriage, maybe Israel will take it seriously.
The hell is this?
Because the bishops and the deacons and the captains have been touching on this for years, and we still got brothers and sisters fornicating. We still got brothers and sisters getting married backdoor without counsel, without dealing with their fathers. We still got that happening. And y'all think y'all going to be okay. I just made a mistake in this. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. You going to go through hell. Just gird up. Keep the commandments. Right? Play.
By the barn, I said, "No, he's asked my daughter's hand in marriage." "Oh, that is so good." And I said, "I haven't said yes." "Oh, that is so good. We are so sorry." And we took him, and then we went back to the back, and for 45 minutes we had a serious conversation. What do you think marriage, you want to talk about mentoring in your life? What do you think marriage is? What do you think my daughter thinks marriage is? What do you expect of your wife? What should your wife expect of you?
Stop. So that's all I really wanted. You know what I'm saying? What is marriage to you? That's why I asked the question. You think you're ready to be married? What is marriage to you? What is it supposed to? Is it just the lovey-dovey thing? Because, we get caught up in the honeymoon phase. She smelled like dolphin streets, sunshine and rainbows. He got pecs or whatever the hell. When everything good is good until it's not. So we get caught up in the honeymoon phase and we think we love each other, but you don't love each other. You're infatuated with each other, right? Which is normal. But when the infatuation wears off, what's going to keep y'all married, right? So he said, what is marriage to you in the conversation he had with this young man? What is my daughter to you? What do you expect as a wife from my daughter? What do you think she expects in you as a husband? These are the questions that when proving is happening must be answered and must be examined. All right? All right, so drop that. Give me Tobit chapter 7. Start at verse 1. We're going to read for a little bit, all right? We're going to read down to verse 14.
Yes, sir.
Because we're going to get an example of a son and a daughter both getting married, but they didn't make the decision. Come on.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7 and verse 1. And when they were come to Ecbatane, they came to the house of Raguel. And Sarah met them. And after they had saluted one another, she brought them into the house.
Come on.
Then said Raguel to Edna, his wife, how like is this young man to Tobit, my cousin?
So how is this young man, Tobias, to my cousin Tobit? Come on.
And Raguel asked him, from whence are ye, brethren? To whom they said, we are of the sons of
Naphtali, read.
which are captives in Nineveh.
Come on.
Then he said to them, do ye know Tobit, our kinsman?
Do you know my cousin? You know my kinfolk? Come on.
And they said, we know him. Then said he, is he in good health?
Come on.
And they said, he is both alive and in good health.
Come on.
And Tobias said, he is my father.
He's what?
He is my father.
So he found out this is his, you know what I'm saying, his little, this is little baby cousin. This is my cousin baby right here. Okay, he might be about something because I know my cousin ain't on no nonsense. He hugged him and kissed him and blessed him and said, I know you the son of a good and honest man. I know your upbringing was solid because I know the man that you were raised by and he ain't no slouch. Ain't no way you could be jacked up. Right? I know the stock you come from. Come on.
Thou art the son of an honest and good man.
Read.
But when he had heard that Tobit was blind, he was sorrowful and wept.
Come on.
And likewise Edna his wife.
Drop down to verse 10.
Verse 10. For it is meet that thou shouldest marry my daughter.
What did he say?
For it is meet that thou shouldest marry my daughter.
He said it's good that you should marry. You know what? You should marry my daughter. You come from a good line, a good stock, a respected household, a respected lineage. My daughter, you know what I'm saying, come from a good line, a good lineage. Matter of fact, me and your father, we cousins. We kinfolk. You know what? You should marry my daughter. Now think about it. Did Tobit wake up and say, you know what, Dad? I like this young woman. I want to marry her. What you think? Or did Tobit go down and lay down with this woman? Or she lay down with Tobias, lay down with this woman and bring her to Tobit? Or Raguel say, hey, look, man, I want to marry your daughter. No. Raguel said to him, because he understood and knew the stock he came from, you should marry my daughter. I want to give my daughter to you. Come on.
Verse 10. For it is meet that thou shouldest marry my daughter.
Read.
Nevertheless, I will declare unto thee the truth.
Read.
I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men who died.
Hold on. I've given my daughter to what?
I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men.
He said, I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men. Not she made that decision on her own. Not he was a vibe. Dad, I love him. Why won't you let me marry him? No, he gave her to 7 men. It just didn't work out. It wasn't ordained that she should be with those men. But the point is, the decision for his daughter to be married was made by him. Not her. Not her husband. But her father. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 11. I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men.
Come on.
Who died that night they came in unto her. Nevertheless, for the present be merry. But Tobias said, I will eat nothing here till we agree and swear one to another. Raguel said, then take her from henceforth according to the manner.
He said, so take my daughter according to the manner, according to our custom, because our custom wasn't to slap nappy-dappy dugouts and now we marry now. Our custom wasn't to go behind our fathers and behind our mothers and do the unspeakable and then come and try to clean this up now. Our custom has always been to follow the guidance and the provision and the instruction of our fathers and our mothers and then build upon the foundation that they set for us. So when we examine what is wrong with our nation today, a lot of it is a tribute to the disorder in marriages. Like Officer Yehoshua was going over Monday, right? Idolatry has led to disorder in marriages. Now we wondering why our communities is jacked up. because we don't follow the policies and the protocol that was set forth a long time ago that were proven and that worked. That led to strong households, that led to brothers and sisters happy. Look at those smiles. And this was ordained by leadership, by their fathers. They didn't make this choice. Leadership made these choices for them. And they're happy. So you can't tell me that if you're of the notion, if you're of the mindset that you can't be happy in a marriage unless you make the decision, you make the choice, then you really don't understand the Bible. You're very carnally minded. And you don't trust your fathers, you don't trust your leadership, that they're going to not only pick a good wife or a good husband for you, but you can be happy and in a healthy relationship with said husband or with said wife. Because our forefathers of old, they didn't choose their wives. They didn't choose their husbands. They were chosen and selected for them by wiser men and women who understood the depths and the issues of marriage, having been married themselves. How does an unmarried woman or brother who's never been married or maybe had a failed marriage and now coming to truth still choose their husband or their wife? Shouldn't you be guided by somebody who not only has been married, right, or is married, but they're in a relationship that's working and that's healthy and that's strong and that the foundation is deep? That's like trying to getting married without the guidance of people who are married and have the experience is like going and getting your car fixed by a nigga that's not a mechanic. And then thinking you about to drive and it's about to work and not fall the damn apart like you see in them cartoons. That's what happens when brothers and sisters get married without the guidance of their leadership. You might as well just go take your car to a dude named Rackham Steve or Mario down the road who says he's a mechanic and he don't know what the hell he doing, and let him work on your car. And then when he say he finished, drive that thing down the street and expect to get home safe. You just a crash test dummy. A lot of brothers and sisters are crash test dummies. Your marriage is nothing more than to be an example of what not to do to the brothers and sisters that will follow you. Right? Finish that off.
Verse 12. Raguel said, Then take her from henceforth according to the manner, for thou art her cousin, and she is thine. And the merciful God give you good success.
Read that again. And the merciful God give you what?
And the merciful God give you good success.
Why? Because the Father blessed it. What's bound in earth is bound in heaven. If the Father agreed to it, God agreed to it. All things decently and in order. Therefore, God grants you good success. I'm in agreement with this. Come on.
Give you good success.
Come on.
In all things.
In all things. That don't mean you're not going to go through it, but you're going to be successful. You're going to look up. You and your wife been married 20 years. Y'all done had 15 babies. Y'all done built a life together. Y'all done got old together. Y'all done got some grades. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a happy life. Y'all done raised adults. And y'all still love each other. You love each other more so now than when you did in the beginning. And we're going to touch on that. Because a lot of people think, oh, we married because we love each other. Y'all don't love each other. You don't know what love is yet. You haven't been tested to know whether you love that person. You're in lust. You're in very strong like with the person. You like them a lot. You don't love them, though. That's why the marriage fails. That's why divorce rates are high, because these people don't love each other. They're infatuated. They in lust with each other. They in really strong like with each other. And the proof that they don't love each other is the marriage fails. That what they call it, no fault divorce. Or brothers and sisters be married and they leave up out of here. And they separate. They dealing with somebody else. You don't love each other. Because love ain't that feeling you get. That's emotion. Love is the keeping of the commandments. So if you really loved each other, you're going to work it out. You're going to strive thick and thin to keep these laws. And you're going to make sure your marriage is built on that foundation that God ordained. Come on.
Verse 13. Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father. And he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias.
Stop. Come on. Read that again. He did what?
He took her by the hand.
He took his daughter by the hand and did what?
And gave her.
And what?
Gave her.
And no, he chose her.
Gave her.
You know, like the song said, you know what I'm saying? They try and get chose. No. The father grabbed her by the hand and gave her to Tobias. Read.
And gave her to be wife to Tobias.
And gave her to be his wife. That decision wasn't made by Tobias and his daughter. Come on.
Saying, behold, take her after the law of Moses.
Take my daughter, read.
And lead her away to thy father.
Now you lead her. Now she's going to bear your children. She's going to procreate with you. She's going to take your household's name. She's going to bear your babies. She's going to continue to push forth your father's. You know how heavy of a matter it is for a man to give a man his daughter, knowing that the children that she's going to bear are not going to continue his name? When a father gives his daughter to a man, he's essentially giving an asset away. He's giving something away that he took time to invest in, and to build, and to nourish, and to prune, and to sculpt, and to mold up to this point to where it was perfect. And now he's going to give it away to another man. And he gains nothing from it. He gets grandbabies, of course. I'm not saying he's going to get nothing out of it. But that man he's giving that daughter gains far more because she's going to continue his lineage. My lineage ends with her. I'm losing an asset. I'm giving an asset away to somebody. He's gaining an asset and so much the more. So if that's the case, how the hell do you make that decision? How does your daughter make that decision? Who she procreates with, whose lineage. That's why a lot of nigger babies is being created, because a lot of Negro men are being chosen to procreate by a lot of foolish damn women. Huh? Because you don't understand, you can't make that choice of who you procreate with. That choice is your father's, because he's going to, like Raguel said, I know you come from a good stock. So I understand that the babies you're going to have are going to be tied to this good man's lineage. Not Pookie and Ray Ray in them. Pookie didn't have his father. His father, Ray Ray, didn't have his father. His father didn't have his father. So what the hell you think going to happen? Except God being in the midst of that thing and breaks that thing, ain't no hope. And a lot of brothers are moving like that. And a lot in the body. And a lot of sisters are moving like that in the body. Because you don't trust your leadership. You don't trust your fathers. Come on. Read.
Verse 4. Verse 14, excuse me.
Come on.
And called Edna his wife, and took paper, and did write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it. Then
right. So they had a marriage certificate. It was ordained by the father. Luke 17:27. Give me Luke chapter 17:27.
The book of Luke, chapter 17 and verse 27.
Come on.
They did eat, they drank, they married wives.
Uh-huh.
They were given in marriage.
They were what?
They were given in marriage.
So in order for men to marry wives, their wives, those daughters have to be given in marriage. Right? That's all I wanted. I wanted to just kind of continue to elaborate on the point that marriage is ordained by God, and it's established through the father and the mother. Right? Not your choice. All right? So leadership is the one that agrees and blesses the union, right? We in the truth. So if you have a father, your father should be counseling with the leadership, right? And you should be counseling with your father, right? And everything should trickle down that way. But a lot of times that's not happening. Now, Deacon Joshua did a class a while ago, and Bishop did one as well, where they said ideally when people prove, they should prove to 2 to 3 years, right? Because after a year, you can kind of hide a little bit. You can kind of hide who you are. You can kind of fake it till you make it, which a lot of brothers and sisters do. But after 2 or 3 years, the real you starts to come out. You start really proving. You really start seeing those things that you really don't like about each other, but you kind of, can start dealing there. You can start ironing those things out and figuring what red flags are, deal breakers, or what red flags you can work on and y'all can build with each other and so on and so forth. So 2 or 3 years is a very good standpoint as far as proving. But a lot of people don't do that, right? And leadership knows that. We know that because most people really don't give a damn about proving. A lot of people, when they come up and they say, I'm ready to be married, what they're saying is, I'm ready to slap nappy dappy dugouts, which is fine. We get that, and women and men have desires. We understand that. And that's part of it. But what gets overlooked is the depths of marriage once you've slapped nappy dappy dugouts, because there's life now, Give me Sirach chapter 6 and 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
So your wife is supposed to be your friend. Your husband is supposed to be your friend. And in building that friendship, y'all got to prove each other. Y'all got to be friendly towards each other. Y'all got to, grow with each other. So your wife or your husband is essentially your friend. Come on.
And be not hasty to credit him.
Right. And a lot of times when people rush into marriage after a year or so without really proving, you hasty to credit. A lot of brothers and sisters like, yeah, I'm ready to be married. And we're like, no, you're not. But just because you waited a year, because, that's the minimum that we'll give you so that you just don't destroy yourself. You ready? You're not ready. You're not ready. And we'll tell you you're not ready. But a lot of y'all don't believe that because you ready to slap nappy dappy dugouts. All right? Keep reading.
Verse 8. For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
Come on.
And will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
Right. So a lot of times when brothers and sisters get married, they find out that Negro or that Negress weren't really in it for them. They had the ulterior motive. They had something that they were trying to accomplish. Or their foundation wasn't deep. So when trials and tribulations came and problems arose, they don't want to endure no more. They say, I'm just not in love with him anymore. I'm not in love with her anymore. Really? So if it took this for you to not be in love with me, you were really never in love with me. You never really loved me. Because this is supposed to strengthen us. Right? In the world, they say, in what for better or for worse, in sickness and health, till death do you part. But niggas say, man, look, you ain't getting on my nerves. Well, this nigga getting on my nerves. I know what I signed up for. I know I signed up for, better or worse, sickness and health, rich or poor. But this nigga broke. You know what I'm saying? He just got, fired from his job. And, the job he got, he working, but, I want making $100,000 a year. I want vacations.
Boy, you are the goddamn devil.
Now, I can't stay married to this broke nigga. You weren't never in it for the Lord. And God didn't bless that neither. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And there is a friend who being turned to enmity and strife will discover thy reproach.
Verse 11.
Verse 11. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself.
So a lot of brothers and sisters, when they get married, when things are going well, they okay, they content, they cool, right? Things are going well. That honeymoon phase, that infatuation stage. Come on.
And will be bold over thy servants.
Come on.
If thou be brought low.
But when things take a turn for the worse, that brother or that sister gets sick, or y'all not vibing like y'all used to be, that honeymoon phase is over, or you start uncovering things that you really don't like about that person. Read.
If thou be brought low.
Come on.
He will be against thee and will hide himself from thy face.
Now, y'all don't want to be together no more. Now, y'all sleeping in separate rooms, you know. Now, the brother, you know, going to the bar or, the bowling alley or whatever the hell, because I just cannot go the hell home. I can't stand hurt, black, ashy, behind, and I'd rather die than go to that house. Right? So, a lot of times it's not love, it's lust, right? It's infatuation. Give me Sirach 11 and verse 2.
11 and verse 2.
Come on.
Commend not a man for his beauty.
Because a lot of our sisters, they leadership might say, this is a good brother for you, and nah, that's not my type. But then they'll come to you, what about this brother? Right, that brother ain't in the spirit. But he my type. Yeah, it's because he looked good to you. God says, commend not a man for his beauty. Read.
Commend not a man for his beauty.
Come on.
Neither abhor a man.
Neither hate a man. Come on.
For his outward appearance.
For his outward appearance, because of how he looked. Because a lot of you sisters don't really give a damn about a good man more or past what you can see with your eyes. Right? Drop that. Give me Sirach 42 and verse 12. Sirach 42 and verse 12.
The book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 12.
Come on.
Behold not everybody's beauty.
Come on.
And sit not in the midst of woman.
Come on.
For from garments cometh a moth.
Read.
And from woman, wickedness.
God say wickedness come from a woman. So that sister that be giving you lust eyes in the congregation, that be blinking at you, giving you choosing signals. Yeah, God said don't behold her beauty. Because as sure as moths destroy a garment, so is wickedness going to come from that woman. Right? Drop that. Proverbs 6:23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 23.
Come on.
For the commandment is a lamp.
Come on.
And the law is light.
Read.
And reproofs of instruction are the way of life.
Come on.
To keep thee from the evil woman.
So remember when we dealt earlier that fathers are the ones who establish marriage. And that was ordained from the beginning because God the Father is the one who ordained and established marriage. So when you deal with your father, when you in the spirit, when you tapped in with your leadership, it will keep you from an evil woman or an evil man. Come on.
With verse 24?
Yep, verse 24.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 24. To keep thee from the evil woman.
Come on.
From the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman.
Come on.
Lust not after her beauty in thine heart.
God said don't lust after her beauty in your heart. Come on.
Neither let her take thee with her eyelids.
And don't let her take her with her choosing signals or her sex eyes, like people like to say, because that's going to lead to problems. That's not ordained of God. That's not following the fathers that have ordained your marriage, that choose your spouse for you, that give you the blessing that establishes your house. All right, drop that. Give me 1 Ezra 4 and 26. Because a lot of brothers, a lot of times, like I said, when brothers come to leadership to be married, they really already got in their mind what they're going to do. Sisters too. They really already got in their mind what they're going to do. And a lot of times when that be the case, hey, do what you're going to do and repent not, but keep us out of that. That's how you know who's in the spirit or not, because if you really are serious about marriage, then you're going to be in constant communication with your leaders, with your fathers. They have your best interests at heart. They are married men and married women. So they understand what goes into marriage. They understand the trials and the tribulations that you're going to go through and how to overcome them. But if you don't want that strong foundation in your marriage, then you're not going to seek that guidance. because you're afraid that they're going to tell you that person that you want ain't for you. But you want that person, right? Some of y'all brothers like this. Verse 26, Sirach 1, First Sirach, I'm tripping. First Esdras 4:26.
The book of First Esdras, chapter 4, verse 26.
Come on.
Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
Come on.
And become servants for their sakes.
A lot of brothers, they some woman's servant. They only going to move based on what that woman say. They are not leaders in their house. If you a brother like that, your marriage is off to a bad start already. And you are surely going to have problems in your marriage if this is the type of brother you are. Come on.
Verse 27. Many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women.
Come on.
And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power?
So men are supposed to be great in their power. You are the kings of the earth. But what happens is when we run out of our wits for women, then we lower ourselves to a place where we establish or exalt our women over us. And then you wonder why your children are over you. Because you didn't lay the foundation. You didn't set things in order. You didn't set those boundaries. Your marriage wasn't established on what God said. It was established on your lust. Verse 29.
Verse 29. Did you want the rest of the 28?
No, sir.
Verse 29. Yet did I see him, and Apame, the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirable Bardacus, sitting at the right hand of the king.
Come on.
And taking the crown from the king's head and setting it upon her own head.
Come on.
She also struck the king with her left hand.
So remember when we was going into brothers and sisters not really proven, right? So why did I pull this example? When you proven, you're looking for red flags, right? You're looking for things that you don't really agree with. Things that are going to prove whether this person, brother or sister, are ready for marriage. They're going to grow, they're in the spirit, or they're not ready for marriage and they're not really in the spirit. So for a brother, right, if he proving a sister and I ain't going to say she moving like this, God forbid, right? But she got red flags, right? She don't know how to conduct herself as a woman when she around men. She don't know how to control her speech. She don't know how to control, how she conducts herself, right? These are things that should be red flags. These should be things that you're examining in this woman to determine whether she's going to be a good wife or not. I was talking to my wife about ladies in waiting, and because I have sons, I have a daughter that, Lord willing, life lasts, I plan on marrying. Not they plan on choosing. My son's not going to choose his wife. Yeah. My daughter's not going to choose her husband. Big dog me in my house is going to choose my son's wife and my daughter's husband. That's what's going to happen. Because that's how, remember, God chose Adam's wife. Adam didn't just say, no, God said, boom, it's not good for him to be alone. I'm going to make him a wife and I'm going to bring her to him. Yeah. And Adam accepted gracefully. And such is the custom as we come even to today. Your father picks your wife or your husband, right? So I was talking to my wife, right, about ladies in waiting. And I was talking about my sons and my daughter. And one thing I said to her was, ladies in waiting is, as far as proving daughters that are to be wives, as MOV is to proving men to be leaders. And if a man doesn't come through MOV, he's not going to be a leader. He has to go through that training regimen, that process, in order to be leadership, in order to be able to guide and lead men in this war that we fight. He doesn't do that, he's no leader, right? Because it trains him how to not only get himself in order, but in the ordering of God's nation. Now, with a woman, ladies in waiting is that for her part, right, to be a helpmeet to a leader. So when I told her, I was like, if my son was proving a young lady in ladies in waiting and she wasn't passing or she failed, my son's not marrying her. Because on the flip side of that, if my daughter was proving a brother and he wasn't seeking counsel, he wasn't striving to grow in spirit, grow in his role as a leader and things of that nature, my daughter's not marrying him either. So I'm going to cut all of that off. My son is not marrying her because with that, I'm proving my daughter's wife. I'm proving my son's wife. I'm proving my son's wife. I'm proving my daughter's husband. The proof is, nah, they're not committed. They're not disciplined. They're not focused. So I already know, I can tell already that if I let my son or my daughter marry this person's going to be a problem for my son or my daughter. So I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to utterly refuse, like we read in Exodus 22. Come on.
Verse 31. And yet for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also.
This is a simp brother. That's what this is. Come on.
But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter, that she might be reconciled to him again.
He did whatever he had to do to secure the box. Bruh. Now, if leadership tell this brother, hey, look, bruh, that ain't what you want. She ain't good for you. She out the spirit. Brothers will say we hate him, or we don't want to see him happy, or we don't want to see him married. I'm like, all right, bruh, go ahead. Go ahead. And what's his name? A pat mate. Go ahead and get you on a pat mate. She gonna be slapping your ass upside the face and taking your IUIC shirt and wearing it through your camp pants, your camp boots. You know what I'm saying? Talking about she going to the the men's conference. Stay here and watch the kids. That's gonna be your wife. All right. So many people don't take proving seriously. All right. Now, like I said, Deacon Joshua did a class. He said 2-3 years is a good standard, right? But ideally, we give people a minimum of a year because we know most people are just not going to follow that counsel, right? Most people don't follow counsel. They're just waiting to, bust their issue off, right? Give me 1 Corinthians 7:1. Right? We know most people are going to do that. And that's why we give them this counsel because we understand, we get it. Just be prepared for what's to come. 7:1, 1 Corinthians.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7, verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Come on.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
So we know most people not going to follow 2 to 3 years. They just not going to do that. So to avoid fornication, get married. Because we know a lot of people just can't contain. Some brothers coming from the world, they was whoremongers. They had a different girl every day or whatever the case may be, and they striving to get themselves right. We get that. Some sisters, they got Satan 2 on their bedpost, and they trying to endure, but they got fresh batteries and Satan 2 on the bedpost. You know what I'm saying? So, we get that. We would that everyone proves properly because, like I said, marriage is the decision that you can't afford to mess up, and that's not a decision that you're supposed to make. Your fathers are supposed to make that decision because they know what's best for you. So counsel is very important. Now, give me that Yahoo definition. Oh, I said Yahoo. Give me that Google definition for counsel. All right, so go ahead and read that first definition.
Counselor, a person trained to give guidance on personal, social, or psychological problems.
So your leadership is supposed to be this to you. A person who is trained, the training is the Bible and their leadership, right? They're an advisor, a consultant, a guide, a mentor, a confidant, an instructor, a coach, a teacher, tutor, guru, expert, specialist. These are things that you're saying your leadership are when you say you trust in them. So when you don't follow the counsel of your leadership, you don't want an advisor. You don't want a consultant. You don't want a guide. You're saying, I am fully equipped to make the decision on my own. And then when you inherit a problem, then you want to go to your counselor to fix your problem. But I can't fix what you broke. You have to fix it now. Right? Drop that. Give me that video. I gotta speed this along. Give me that next video.
Right.
All right, so watch this. Come on.
Write this down. Love does not keep marriage together. Stop letting people fool you with love.
Stop. So he said love does not keep marriage together. Stop letting people fool you with love. Now, we do know love keeps marriage together because we know love is the keeping of the commandments. So you kind of got to dig through it a bit. But what he's essentially talking about is what the world calls love, meaning that happy feeling, that infatuation that most people that get into relationships have at first that doesn't endure with time passing. Most people are infatuated or in lust with each other. So that's what he ultimately means. That doesn't keep you married. That doesn't build foundations strong in marriages, because that infatuation or that lust that you had initially is going to fade. Y'all going to go through issues and problems with each other. Come on.
What do they mean by that? Don't marry a person because of love. Are you shocked yet? Everybody in this room who's been divorced will tell you they began their relationship with what they call love.
Stop.
But
So a lot of people that end up married, they'll tell you, yo, it was love at first sight. Or when I saw this person, I knew they was the one. Okay, sounds good. Till about 3 years later, y'all talking about divorce. And the kids is destroyed. But wait, I thought they was the one. I thought y'all was so in love. Nah, that's not love. That's infatuation. That's what he's dealing with. A lot of people do that. Come on.
everybody in this room who's been divorced will tell you they began their relationship with what they call love. But the love didn't hold out.
But the love didn't hold up. That infatuation didn't hold up because it wasn't based on the foundation that God established all of those years ago, which was the keeping of his commandments. That's love. That's commitment. That's discipline. That's duty. So love is irregardless of the fact that I'm pissed off at my wife. Love is irregardless of whether he said something and I didn't like it. I didn't like the tone of it. Love is a duty to do those things that you're required to do because God said so. So if you really love that person, the issues that you go through are not going to determine the outcome of your marriage. They're going to strengthen the outcome of your marriage. Yeah. You're going to get stronger. Yeah. She's going to get stronger. And you're going to build together. Come on.
So love doesn't keep it together. 95% of all the people that I've counseled in my office for the last 30 years with marital problems, with the paper in their hand, ready to sign it to get a divorce, all of them said, I still love him, but we can't live together.
Wait, stop. So how do you still love a person, but y'all can't live together? You know how crazy that sounds?
Stop the cap.
I still love her, but I don't want to provide for her no more. I don't want to protect her no more. I don't want to stay with her and build up these children that we made together no more. I want to completely be absolved of the duty in which I signed up for when I said I married her.
What?
Which was before God and men. But I still love her, though. Or I still love him, but I don't want to submit to him no more. Or I don't want to take care of his kids no more. I need a break.
The hell is this?
That's not love. What you're saying is the infatuation, the thrill is gone. It was fun. It ain't fun no more. Now we got to do hard things. It's hard to keep this marriage going. I don't want to do the work. Come on.
All of them said, I still love him, but we can't live together. I still love her, but I can't stand her. We are confused. The two words don't go together. I love you, but don't want to live with you.
He said, I'm confused. I love you and I don't want to live with you. Don't go together. That doesn't even make sense. And this is the plight and the problem that we see a lot of times in the body, where brothers and sisters will operate outside of counsel and they'll be infatuated with each other. And in that honeymoon phase, everything is cool. But then life happens. And now y'all don't like each other no more. And then you know what ultimately starts happening? Now you want counsel. Now you want your leadership to fix and put bandages over the problems that you created. But again, we can't fix those problems. You have to. We can try to offer you guidance, starting with, well, why didn't you take the guidance we told you when we told y'all wasn't ready? Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm sure it's your bad now. So what do you expect us to do? Keep the commandments, brother. Keep the commandments, sister, what the Bible say. Do that. That's the guidance. All right. Was that it? Finish that off.
We are confused. The two words don't go together. I love you, but don't want to live with you. What we're saying is my feelings toward this person is intact, but my ability to be in the same room is wanting.
All right, that's it. That's it. So give me Proverbs 11 and verse 14. Try to speed through some of these.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 14.
Come on.
Where no counsel is, the people fall.
So where no counsel is, when a brother and a sister are talking about marriage or proving, but they not checking in with their leadership. They not counseling. They not they box checking essentially. They just waiting for a year to pass to say I'm ready to be married. That's when you're going to fail. That's when you're going to have problems. Come on.
But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
But in a multitude of counsel, there is safety. You're going to get those questions. You're going to unearth those issues that you're inevitably. Sometimes, a lot of times when you come to counsel, leadership will spot something and then bring it to your attention. Now you see it. You didn't see it at first. And this is why, like my brother was going over in the class, a lot of you hate your spouse. Because at first, when you should have been getting counsel, you were supposed to be being guided. You didn't follow those things. Now you starting to see things in your wife or in your husband that you don't like. Now you hate each other. What we trying to do is establish it before it gets there so that the foundation is strong. So when you do come to those issues, y'all don't despise and hate each other. You able to work, you able to see a problem in your wife and be like, you know what? I can fix that. Or a sister able to see a problem in her husband and say, you know what? I'm able to help him overcome that. Come on. Read that again.
Where no counsel is, the people fall.
Come on.
But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Proverbs 15 and 20. Right? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Many of y'all have all the resources that you need. You just don't use them. You refuse to use them. And then when trouble arises, now you want to use those resources. All right? Proverbs 15 and 20.
Proverbs chapter 15, verse 20. A wise son maketh a glad father.
How does a wise son make a glad father? By following his father's advice. By seeking counsel from his father. That's what a good son would do. Or a good daughter will do. Come on.
But a foolish man despiseth his mother.
But a foolish son or a foolish daughter will show that they despise their father or their mother by not doing anything that their father or mother tells them to do. You hate your parents because every decision that you make is against the counsel that they've given you. Verse 21.
21. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom.
A lot of brothers and sisters, their backdoor marriage is folly, but in their mind, they think it's, hey, bro, I didn't do nothing wrong. Marriage is honorable, right? Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom. You don't even see what the hell you done did to yourself. You can't even see that you done put yourself, you put yourself in a position where Satan up that joint doing the Birdman hands, rubbing them together. He about to jack your life up. You just don't even know it yet. Come on.
But a man of understanding walketh uprightly.
But a man of understanding walks upright. He's going to follow the guidance of his fathers. Verse 22.
Without counsel, purposes are disappointed.
Without counsel, purposes are disappointed. In this case, marriage is the purpose, and without counsel, that marriage is a disappointment. It's not blessed of the fathers. Come on.
But in the multitude of counselors, they are established.
But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. That's why, like we read in Sirach 3, a father's blessing establishes what? The houses of his children. All right? Drop that Sirach 8 and 8.
The book of Sirach, chapter 8, verse 8. Despise not the discourse of the wise.
Come on.
But acquaint thyself with their proverbs.
So the discourse of the wise is your fathers, and a lot of time it's not comely. That's why a lot of people despise it. Because you don't want to be told not to do something that you really want to do. That's what it means to despise not the discourse of the wise. When they tell you something that's good for you, but you really don't want to hear it anyway.
Right.
Apply it anyway. Because it's for your benefit. Me telling you that you're not ready to be married don't benefit me. I'm married. I have a wife. I have children. It benefits you because when you are ready, I'm going to be the first one in your corner rooting for you to be married. When you're ready. Come on.
For of them thou shalt learn instruction, and how to serve great men with ease.
Come on.
Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers.
Because they also learned of their fathers. You see how important the father is in the establishing of a nation? That's why you can't make that decision who you marry. You're not supposed to. It ain't a man I'm around that ain't got the mindset, I'm picking my son a wife and I'm picking my daughter's husband. Me. Nobody else. And if he or she goes outside of that, then that ain't my son, that ain't my daughter. My son and my daughter wouldn't do that. That's Satan, baby. Was that it?
No, sir.
Come on.
And of them thou shalt learn understanding.
And of them thou shalt learn understanding. Come on.
And to give answer as need requireth.
And to give answer as need requireth. Proverbs 1 and 5.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 5.
Come on.
A wise man will hear and will increase learning.
So a wise man, a wise son, or a wise daughter will hear and increase their learning. Come on.
And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel.
And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel, meaning they're going to follow what they're being told. They understand the importance of following counsel. They know that their leadership, their fathers, have their best interests at heart. So a lot of the marriages that we see that are successful because the wise children attained unto wise counsel. That's when you see successful marriages. Again, that doesn't mean that they're not going to go through things. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have trouble in the flesh. Obviously, that's going to happen. But their marriage is going to be successful because they're going to overcome their issues with each other. Because they have established their marriage on the foundation of God's laws and counsel with their fathers. Drop that. Proverbs 12 and 15.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes.
Come on.
But he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise.
So the person the brother or the sister that goes against the counsel of their fathers, against their leadership, and marries anyway, or does without the knowledge of their leadership, the Bible says the way of a fool is right in his own eyes. When you choose to go about things your own way, remember, if we were good at life, right? If we were good at this thing called life, why would we need this thing called the truth? Many of us had, jobs, we had children, many of us were married before, had businesses and so on and so forth before we came into the truth. But something just wasn't right. We was jacking our life up. Many of us were came into the truth with children out of wedlock, divorced, and all manner of trauma from the world. So if we were good at making decisions in life, we wouldn't need the Bible. But we do need it. So when you come into the body and you still move like you were in the world, you're saying you really don't believe. You don't really trust in God. You don't really trust in the guidance of your leaders and your elders. You really just kind of a nigga in purple. That's what you are. And you're going to receive a nigga's reward. Was that it?
Yes, sir.
Read that again.
The way of a fool is right in his own eyes.
Come on.
But he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise.
But the person that hearkens to counsel is wise. Titus 2 and 3. We're going to read down to 5. Because women need counsel too. They need to deal with their fathers. But you need to deal with the women as well. Yeah, you need to deal with your mothers as well. Verse 3.
The book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Come on.
Not false accusers, not given to much wine.
Come on.
Teachers of good things.
Teachers of what?
Good things.
Who's the ones teaching the young daughters? Their mothers, their older sisters. They're giving you guidance. They're the ones that teach you how to be a proper wife. Come on.
That they may teach the young women.
That's the point. That they may teach the young woman, that they may guide or counsel the young women to be what?
Sober, to love their husbands.
So you mean to tell me that when a sister coming up to their leadership talking about they want to be married, but they don't deal with the leadership wives. They don't deal with their big sister. They don't have a council of 1,000. They don't have nobody that they're vetting these things and these thoughts through, but they're ready to be married. Having never been married, or maybe you was in the world and you had a failed marriage, you're not going to go to a sister who has a successful marriage to get guidance. You're not going to go to your leadership who has a successful marriage to get counsel. You understand everything already. You understand that you're ready to be married. No, you don't understand. You're just what Cap say, you're just insatiably horny. You're tired of using Satan too, and you want something real. And that's fine. That's okay. We get that. Just all things decently and in order. So if you are ready to be married, this is the process for the sister. Read it again.
Verse 4.
Yep, verse 4.
That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands.
You have to learn how to love your husband from women who love their husbands. Read.
To love their children.
You got to learn how to love your children from women who love their children. Come on.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
Come on.
Good, obedient to their husbands.
Come on.
That the word of God be not blasphemed.
So you got to learn this from the sisters. That's why ladies in waiting is important, because those sisters are married. Those sisters are good, obedient to their husbands. Those sisters guide the house. They deal with their children. They love their children. So if you are a sister in ladies in waiting and you are actively failing, what you're saying is you are not ready to be a wife. And for any brother that's proven a sister in ladies in waiting and that sister is not actively improving, because maybe you got some things that you need to work out. So maybe you're not passing, but you're improving. That's good. Improvement is good. But if you're a sister who you're not making improvements, you're actively failing, and a brother's proving you, bruh, I'm just saying, that's the proof. That's the proof. Sister, if you're dealing with a brother and leadership can't give an account for this man, he's not counseling. Leadership don't see him. And when they do see him, it's on the Sabbath. You proving this brother? If that brother is not in line with his leadership, you don't need to be proving him. And that's why a lot of you don't deal with your leadership, because you know leadership going to say that. But I love her, man. That's how it is. You love her, man. So you're going to do it anyway. And then you're going to get a problem, right? Drop that. So when you don't follow counsel, you're going to have problems. Proverbs 11:29. We're going to speed through a few of these, and then we're going to be done.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 29.
Come on.
He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind.
How does a brother trouble his own house? Because he ain't tapped in with his leadership. He ain't got the spirit. Ain't no wisdom in him. Come on.
And the fool shall be servant to the wise of heart.
Right. You know what I'm saying? He going to trouble. He going to destroy his house because he ain't got no foundation in him. His foundation wasn't established on God. It was established on his lust. Proverbs 14:1.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 1.
So what about the woman that doesn't follow counsel? Come on.
Every wise woman buildeth her house.
So the wise woman is the sister that she tapped in with her sisters. She tapped in with her leadership. She's going to build up her house. Come on.
But the foolish plucketh it down with her hands.
But a foolish woman who not tapped in, she going to destroy her house. I'm just saying, we got horror stories for days. Y'all better take heed. Sirach 26:23.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 23.
Come on.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
So we hear sisters talk about how wicked their wife is, right? Or how wicked their husband is a lot of time. And what's often missed is a lot of times that woman or that man is a reflection of you, right? That's something I meditate on often. I always tell my wife, when things are going off in my house, you know what? I'm examining myself. I'm off somewhere. That's the first person I look at is myself, whether I'm off or not, because I understand that whatever spirit my wife dealing with or my children are dealing with, in some way, shape, or form, could be big, could be small, but it's ultimately a reflection of me. I'm lacking somewhere, and it's causing my wife or my children to lack somewhere. So a lot of times when brothers and sisters say their wife or their husband is evil, Well, what are you doing as a sister, right? As a help me. What are you doing to help your husband overcome whatever evil he's in? Or as a brother who's supposed to be a leader in his house, what are you doing to help your wife overcome whatever evil she's in? Are y'all studying together? Are y'all praying together? This is why I got to give a shout out to my brothers, man. This is a Virginia stretch, bro. You know what I'm saying? Them brothers went into a lot of these things that if we applied them, a lot of the issues will disappear. They'll go away. But it's work. It's hard work. You got to be willing to do it. Read that again.
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
Come on.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
So a godly woman, how does a godly man and a godly woman, how do you spot a godly woman and a godly man? Well, a godly woman, a godly man understands that they not the one that's going to pick each other. Their fathers are going to choose them for each other, and they're going to trust in the guidance of their fathers. I hear a lot of sisters. I typically hear this from sisters. I don't really hear this from brothers a lot, but I typically hear this from sisters say, I want you to choose my husband. Didn't leadership choose somebody for them? And nah, I'm good. He ain't it. So you don't want leadership to choose your husband. That's all BS. That's all BS. So if you're a godly brother or a godly sister, God's going to ordain that marriage. And your leadership are going to be the vessels that are used to bring y'all together, if you believe. And if you don't believe, go and do it yourself. See what you come up with. Read.
Verse 24. A dishonest woman contemneth shame.
A dishonest woman contemneth shame. Come on.
But an honest woman will reverence her husband.
But an honest woman will respect her husband. That's what you're proving. Is this woman going to respect you? Is she going to reverence you? When you say something, is that it? Or is it going to be back talk? Is it going to be proms? Is she always going to have something to say? It's always an issue. You can go ahead and drop that. Malachi 2 and 12. Malachi 2 and 12. Because a lot of brothers, y'all not doing y'all part. Y'all not doing y'all part. And you're not ready to be married. And when you get into a relationship, a lot of times you're very destructive towards a woman. Very abusive towards a woman. Now, I don't mean necessarily physical. You can be abusive emotionally. You can be spiritually abusive because you're not building that woman up. A lot of times, one thing I typically ask a lot of times with brothers when they're having issues with their spouse is, how often do you go over scriptures with her? And a lot of times the answer is typically when I'm rebuking her. So if the only time you can go over, it's like with your children, right? If the only time you can give your children attention is when you got to whoop them, then you're really not effective as a parent. What you're ultimately teaching them is they just a messed up child. You're enforcing bad habits. So the only time you can go over scripture with your wife is when you're rebuking her or checking her. You're showing her you're really not interested in building her up more than you are about tearing her down. And this is the problem with a lot of brothers that say they're ready for marriage. You're not investing in building that. That woman is supposed to be a help to you. She's supposed to be a direct. She's supposed to be after your mind. Whatever you are, she's supposed to be a lesser version of it, which means you have work to do. So if the only time you working is to destroy her and tear her down when she mess up, you're not effective as a leader. There's a time and a place where you do tear down. We're not saying that there's not places and times where a woman or a son, for that matter, needs to be rebuked. But that's not the only time you should be able to go and see your wife and say, you know what, sit down, get your head covered. I was meditating on this today, or I was going over this today, and I want to run this by you. See what your understanding is. Build her up. See, because she may study. She may have questions, and a lot of times you can have a very good and very fruitful conversation with your wife, just say, let's sit down, let's talk about the Bible. You'd be surprised. And God going to bless that thing. Malachi 2 and verse 12.
The book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 12.
Come on.
The Lord will cut off the man that doeth this.
God said the Lord going to cut off the man that doeth this. Read.
The master and the scholar.
Come on.
Out of the tabernacles of Jacob. and him that offereth an offering unto the Lord of hosts.
Come on.
And this have ye done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that he regardeth not the offering any more, or receiveth it with goodwill at your hand.
And what is God talking about? What is God talking about? Read the next verse.
Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth.
The Lord see a lot of you brothers and how you dealing with your spouses. A lot of times we be on the sisters, not more than we be on the brothers, but we be on the sisters. And a lot of times sisters be crying out to the leadership because the brother at home ain't dealing right. A lot of times we try to get the brother the benefit of the doubt. But when we examine that man and we find out he ain't right, that's our sister, that's our daughter. If anything, we're going to be more on that man's ass because he's supposed to be established as a leader in the house. His reputation will sully the reputation of the movement that we are supposed to be a part of. He will bring shame to the ministry. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Just because, you know, you're a man and you have a wife doesn't necessarily make you a leader, and it doesn't give you a coverall to be a lion in your house. Read.
Against whom thou hast dealt treacherously.
Against whom you have dealt treacherously. You're not steadying with her. You're not providing for her. You're not protecting her. You're not building up those children that she bore you. You're not a man. You're not a leader. Come on.
Yet she is thy companion.
She your companion. She who God ordained you to be with. She who God gave you and entrusted in your care. Like I said, my daughter ain't picking her husband. And the man I'm going to give her to, that's an asset of mine. I built her. I took my daughter and I molded her from her youth into something. I'm not just going to give her to any man. God gave that woman to you. Now it's your responsibility to build that woman up. Come on.
And the wife of thy covenant.
Come on.
And did not he make one?
And did he not make y'all one? Come on.
Yet had he the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one? That he might seek a godly seed.
Come on.
Therefore take heed to your spirit.
Therefore, brothers, take heed to your spirit. Come on.
And let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth.
And let none deal evil with the wife of his youth. For you brothers that you got that spirit of I'm the man and you the woman and shut up. Yeah, all right, brother, you just better make sure you holding up your end of the bargain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I look, you might say that. That don't mean that woman respects you. I can't be mad at that woman for not respecting you. Because I don't respect no man that's going to move that way and think he's going to deal with my daughter any kind of way. Nor will I give my daughter to. That's a foolish and simple man. A lot of you brothers who talking about you ready to be married are foolish and simple men. You just don't believe it. You think you ready for, when you step into the realm of marriage, you stepping into some man shit. Excuse my language. And when you get married, you saying you ready to take on all the responsibility that covers it, and it's a lot. If you ain't ready for it, you know, you don't need to be doing it. Marriage is more than getting my little Peter weeder wet. It's more than that.
What's wrong?
But that some of y'all can't see past that little thing between y'all legs. Read it.
Verse 16. For the Lord, the God of Israel, saith that he hateth putting away.
Right, because when y'all get married, that's forever. God hates the putting away. Now, some of y'all marriages are not ordained of God. It is what it is. But guess what? You married now. Right? Finish that off.
For the Lord, the God of Israel, saith that he hateth putting away.
Come on.
For one covereth violence with his garment,
Come on.
saith the Lord of hosts. Therefore take heed to your spirit, that ye deal not treacherously.
That you deal not treacherously. All right, give me last scripture. Where is it at? I don't think I wrote it down. Ecclesiastes 9:9. I did. Ecclesiastes 9:9. I knew I was gonna have to try to rush through these things, man. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm doing too much. All right, Ecclesiastes 9:9. So what's the point? All right, you know, like I said earlier in the class, you think you're ready for marriage. Right? Everybody has to examine whether that's really the case or not. And it's more than just, you know, you want to get your little itch scratched. That's a part of it. But what you're saying is you're ready to take a major part in the building of your nation. All right, your nation, or the foundation of your nation, is strong families. All right, without those, there is no such thing as a strong nation. All right, so when you say you're ready for marriage, you say you're ready to help in the building of your nation. All right, that's got to be the mindset. Otherwise, it's just lust. Ecclesiastes 9:9.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 9. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity.
So God said, live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of your vanity, right? Be joyful with your wife. Take her on a date, you know. Buy her something nice. Sometimes you don't got to wait for parim or whatever to buy her something nice. Sometimes you can just be on the way home from work. You know what I'm saying? Get her a flower or two. You know what I'm saying? When you the brothers that travel, when you go to these other places, go ahead and get her a coffee mug.
Yeah.
Then go ahead and get her a California coffee mug, or you know what I'm saying, a New York water bottle or something like that. Get her a little teddy bear or something like that, man. You'll thank me later. Yeah. You understand? Give her something nice. Treat her right. You know what I'm saying? Sisters, you know what I'm saying? Do something for your husband, man. When he come home, you know what I'm saying? Wash his feet. You know? Or you know what I'm saying? Set aside a day that way, y'all can go out and he don't got to think about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can just spend a day with each other. Set a date. It ain't nothing wrong with a sister setting aside a day where she can spend with her Lord too. He don't always have to set up a date for you. You can set it up too. I tell my wife, put it on the calendar, I'll honor it. That means she planning the dates. I'm going to just pay for it. You plan the date.
Yeah.
Feel right with each other, man. Yeah, I mean, that's all y'all got in your vanity is life. You know what I'm saying? It's going to pass away. All the days of your vanity. Read.
Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity.
Come on.
Which he hath given thee under the sun.
Read.
All the days of thy vanity.
Come on.
For this is thy portion in this life.
That's your portion in life. If you really about that marriage thing, you understand that's a portion, and it's a good portion. So y'all can become aged together. Read.
And in thy labor which thou takest under the sun.
All right, so hopefully y'all got something out of the class. All right, man, let's build strong marriages. Let's make our fathers our heroes again. Let's stop hating our spouses, all right? Shalom, Most High in Christ. Bless them. Officer Joseph with IUIC Virginia. Y'all go ahead and we're set. Donate, because we got things we need to do. All right, Shalom, Most High in Christ. Bless.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, His word.